brothers and sisters, and welcome to The Last Eagle on Earth. My name is James Scott Shoemaker, and tonight we're going to head on into our Blue Book once again from the Foundation for Inner Peace edition. We're in the text, Chapter 2, The Separation and the Atonement. We're on page 19, number 2, The Atonement as Defense. All right, guys, like I've said before, I'm just your buddy, I'm your guide, I'm your brother. I'm on this journey with you. If we get this together, we get to keep it. So I might stop throughout this and give you my interpretation, and we'll just go on from there. Real quick, but I guess before we get started, I want to explain a little bit about what I understand about what the atonement as defense means. So the atonement is put into place, our chapter before is the origins of separation. So we were separated. And there was this wonderful plan already put in place called the atonement that will be placed and put into the world to help the separated self, help the separated Christ mind return to sanity, because we became insane. We forgot that we were love, and we needed a cure to the disease. So the separation itself was the disease, the atonement's the cure, done outside of the dream, and then placed in there as this beautiful plan headed up by Jesus. And that would bring the Christ mind back to sanity. And what's so amazing about it, as a defense, it's not working in the way that an ego mind would think is defense, because this doesn't harm anybody at all. And it actually is very patient, it's very loving, it is actually made of love, and it's the perfect plan. It allows the separated self to stay separate if it wants. That's the will of us. And then if we want to, we can choose love again. All we have to do is choose love again, get out of that negative part of our mind, get back into the positive, remember that we're love, join in with the atonement, and then we're back in love again. And then that strengthens, and we start remembering who we really are. And the ego, as a defense, the atonement starts breaking down the ego's plan out of our mind. It starts falling away. The more and more that we ask, and the more and more we stay in love, and the more and more that we see the false self is not really us. So it's just this beautiful, beautiful plan that has been put in place. And more and more I think about it, it just brings me so much joy and love, and it's what God would do, it's just perfect, the perfect plan. All right, guys, so I'm going to read through this. I might stop, like I said. I might not have to, because I just explained quite a bit of it. So here we go, guys. The atonement as defense. You can do anything I ask. I have asked you to perform miracles, and have made it clear that miracles are natural, corrective, healing, and universal. There is nothing they cannot do, but they cannot be performed in the spirit of doubt or fear. When you are afraid of anything, you are acknowledging its power to hurt you. Remember that where your heart is, there is your treasure also. You believe in what you value. If you are afraid, you are valuing wrongly. Your understanding will then inevitably value wrongly, and by endowing all thoughts with equal power will inevitably destroy peace. That is why the Bible speaks of the peace of God which passeth understanding. This peace is totally incapable of being shaken by errors of any kind. It denies the ability of anything not of God to affect you. This is the proper use of denial. It is not used to hide anything, but to correct error. It brings all error into the light. And since error and darkness are the same, it corrects error automatically. Just lets it go. True denial is a powerful protective device. You can and should deny any belief that error can hurt you. This kind of denial is not a concealment, but a correction. Your right mind depends on it. Denial of error is a strong defense of truth, but the denial of truth is the result of miscreation, the projections of the ego. In the service of the right mind, the denial of error frees the mind and reestablishes the freedom of the will. When the will is really free, it cannot miscreate, because it recognizes only truth. You can defend truth as well as error. The means are easier to understand after the value of the goal is firmly established. It is a question of what is it for. Everyone defends his treasure and will do so automatically. The real questions are, what do you treasure? And how much do you treasure it? Once you have learned to consider these questions and to bring them into all your actions, you will have little difficulty in clarifying the means. The means are available whenever you ask. You can, however, save time if you do not protract this step unduly. The correct focus will shorten it immeasurably. The atonement is the only defense that cannot be used destructively, because it is not a device you made. That's what I was saying before, guys. Like, this was made outside the dream. We did not make the atonement. The atonement was created for the problem once we fell asleep. So it's beautiful. So here we go, guys. So it's perfect. That's all I gotta say. So the atonement principle was in effect long before the atonement began. The principle was love, and the atonement was the act of love. Acts were not necessary before the separation, because belief in space and time did not exist. It was only after the separation that the atonement and the conditions necessary for its fulfillment were planned. Then a defense so splendid was needed that it could not be misused, although it could be refused. And that's what I was saying, guys. It can't be misused because it's perfect love, but it can be refused from the separated mind. So it's a perfect plan. It's like, you can keep on miscreating all you want. The world that you see is just an illusion, so you can't actually be harmed. So that's another one of the cool things, is that like the whole world is actually, you can't really die. So all the miscreations that we're doing are just the insane mind and the insanity. But patiently, this atonement will wait for us to make the right choice, to consider love and say, I'm really done with all this. Nothing's working here because it's not love. Love's the only thing that truly exists, and the only thing that will forever exist. So choosing the atonement is our way out of here. It's our ticket out of here. It's our bus ticket out of here. So here we go. So let me read that one more time and then we'll continue on. So it was only after the separation that the atonement and the conditions necessary for it to fulfillment were planned. Then a defense so splendid was needed that it could not be misused, although it could be refused. Refusal could not, however, turn into a weapon of attack, which is inherited characteristics of other defenses. The atonement thus becomes the only defense that is not a two-edged sword. It can only heal. How beautiful, right? So the atonement was built into space-time belief to set a limit on the need for belief itself, and ultimately to make learning complete. The atonement is the final lesson. Learning itself, like the classrooms in which it occurs, is temporary. The ability to learn has no value when change is no longer necessary. The eternally creative have nothing to learn. You can learn to improve your perceptions and can become a better and better learner. This will bring you into closer and closer accord with the sonship, but the sonship itself is a perfect creation, and perfection is not a matter of degree. Only while there is a belief in differences is learning meaningful. Evolution is a process in which you seem to proceed from one degree to the next. You correct your previous missteps by stepping forward. This process is actually incomprehensible in temporal terms, because you return as you go forward. The atonement is the device by which you can free yourself from the past as you go ahead. It undoes your past errors, thus making it unnecessary for you to keep retracing your steps without advancing to your return. In this sense, the atonement saves time, but like the miracle it serves, does not abolish it. As long as there is need for atonement, there is need for time. But the atonement as a complete plan has a unique relationship to time. Until the atonement is complete, its various phases will proceed in time, but the whole atonement stands at time's end. At that point, the bridge of return has been built. The atonement is a total commitment. You may still think this is associated with loss, a mistake all separated sons of God make in one way or another. It is hard to believe a defense that cannot attack is the best defense. This is what it is meant by the meek shall inherit the earth. They will literally take it over because of their strength. A two-way defense is inherently weak precisely because it has two edges and can be turned against you very unexpectedly. This possibility cannot be controlled except by miracles and forgiveness, right? The miracle turns the defense of the atonement to your real protection, and you become more and more secure. You will assume your natural talent of protecting others, knowing yourself as both a brother and a son. Man, guys, that is really cool, right? So what Jesus is saying there at the end is the strengthening happens when we help our other brothers and sisters out. When we are helping them, we're helping ourselves because it's all stemming from us. So the more and more the atonement's beautiful plan is the more and more we let go of judgments and pain and separation out there, and we start helping our other brothers and sisters strengthen their understanding that they're loved. It just walks us all home together. We start recognizing that we're both the sonship, the Christ mind, and we're all one, and we're remembering that, and it's so beautiful. So the atonement is defense. It's actually not even a defense. It's not a double-edged sword. It's just love, waiting for us to turn from separated thoughts in our mind to love, and realizing that's what we are. That's our true inheritance, and we get to walk home to God by just continually stepping forward into love with everything that we're doing. Also remembering to stay into the now moment, asking for the atonement. Say, in the mornings, a lot of times I'll do a quick meditation and say, Holy Spirit, please be in charge of my day-to-day, be my guide throughout today. And it's so. Once you do that, it's already ready to go. If you do get attacked throughout the day, let that go. That's the atonement. Letting it go. Holy Spirit, take this away from me, take that away from me, take this thought away from me, and we can walk peacefully home and just become a part of the atonement. And it's beautiful. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I know that I did. Our next one will be on page 21, number 3, the altar of God. All right, guys, peace be with you. I love you, and I will see you guys on the other side. All right, guys, take care.
Prepare yourself from the birth to the dirt. Prepare yourself for all it's worth. Prepare yourself from the birth to the dirt. Prepare yourself, the last ego on earth. Prepare yourself from the dirt to the birth. Prepare yourself from the birth to the dirt. The last ego on earth.